Hello, this is Memeristor, and I am going to share with you today some of my process in setting puzzles. Now, some of the things I wanted to talk about is more general, but I did want to sort of go through my process and give sort of an introduction on how you can get started with this and how you can get ideas, because I think getting ideas is the hardest part of this. Now I'm using a program called fpuzzles, fpuzzles.com, made by Eric Fox, and I'm using a solver, a Sudoku solver, and setting tools by Ranks. And this allows me to disconnect and reconnect. It has a bunch of options in here. Turn that off for now. And one of the options is very useful. It's called True Candid. And usually a setter or a proper setter with proper knowledge will tell you true candidates is great for ending your puzzle. You can look at, for example, the solution count of these things. So if I just put a bunch of digits into here, I put the X's mean that it's no solutions found. If I just put a bunch of digits in, eventually we will get changing of colors. And as you can see, it shows you every digit that can go into that spot. We just put a bunch of these things in, we'll eventually close. Okay, here we go. So as you can see, there's some little grayed out digits. There's some slightly less grayed out digits. So you can see what happens when I put a 9 here. I get some progress. If I put a 3 there instead, I get a little bit less progress. So if we're looking at, let's look at the solution count right now. There's 46 solutions. So if I put a 9 there, I get 4 solutions. I think the lowest ones, or the gray ones, are digit number of solutions. So 1 to 9. Whereas a 4 would give you 11 solutions. So that's not an integer number. Let me just reload that. Or, oh, did I turn? Yeah, I turned it off. So putting an 8 here or a 9 here, I think an 8 would give you less solutions, 3 solutions. So that's why when I have a 9 here, this 9 is slightly darker than this 8. And if I put a 3 there, I have like 3 solutions or something like that. Same as the 8. And some of those, if I can get it back to where it was, have green on them. And that means there's exactly 1 solution. So if I put a 4 there, it solves it. This does not mean that a human being could look at this grid and solve the puzzle. That's not what that means. What it means is that it has only 1 solution. So if you guessed and checked for forever, you would find only this 1 solution. Now, one thing you can turn on to sort of, or one thing you can do to see if you can get through the puzzle without guess and check is turn off contradictions and then turn solution path. Well, solution is found. So they didn't use any contradictions, just simple hidden singles, naked singles, and bam. That is a solvable Sudoku. It's a little bit more complicated for variants rather than classics. Classics, if you're just setting something fun, something like that will be probably not very fun, but it will be solvable. But the reason I'm talking through this and the reason why I'm talking about this is because one thing that I like to do when I start a puzzle, you just put these back, get rid of solution count. is to turn on true candidates right away. This is something that people don't say not to do. And I like to just put things into the grid, just play with it. Because what I'm looking for is not a puzzle. I don't want to make a puzzle with true candidates. I want to find an idea with true candidates. What do I mean by find an idea? Well, when you start a puzzle, when you start setting a puzzle, it's often very hard to think of any sort of idea or concept that you could put into the puzzle. And these things start to come more naturally as you progress as a setter. But at the beginning, it can be very challenging to think of anything, really. One thing that I thought of, not while looking at trained candidates, but just in general, is something like this. I had asked in the voice chat of the CTC if anyone had any good puzzles with between lines and renban. And that's because I was wondering specifically if anyone had utilized this before. So you can sort of play with this to see what will happen. I can put a 1 in, and that immediately puts a 4, 2, 3, 2, 3. Now I know this would happen. This is by design. But if you didn't know that this would happen, if you didn't have this idea yet, and you had, for example, gone, oh, well, renban and between lines, what if I just make it so that there isn't many digits between them? There's only one. Well, that doesn't work because the digits between them, so these two, if I put, remember, let's go back to that other example with the 1 and the 4. So 1 and 4 on either end, 2 and 3 are between 1 and 4 numerically. If you put your on the top of your keyboard, this is, I actually do use this for setting lots of variants. If you look at the top of your keyboard and then you cover over the digits 1 and 4, you'll notice that between them is 2 and 3. Now that is very obvious because 2 and 3 are between 1 and 4, obviously, but it can be nice to sort of visualize by putting your fingers over various digits to say, okay, these are not available. What are the available digits and how can I arrange them so that there is something between, or maybe you have crop dot relationships. I like to use that as well, consecutive things. You can find this sort of thing by playing around. When you find something that's broken, like this with the renban, don't say, oh, it's broken, better stay away from that. Don't do that. What you should do instead is consider, if I change it a little bit. Well, first I would say understand why it's broken. This is a good exercise. So let me know what you guys think. Why, well, not let me know because we aren't talking to each other. I'm talking to you, but why is connecting a renban, which contains a set of consecutive digits? So if I had the renban, I don't know, if I have a renban and then I put a 1 on the renban, the other two digits have to be 2 and 3. If I put a 5 on the renban, then you could go 5, 3, 4, 5, 4, 6, or 5, 6, 7, and they can be in any order. So the 7 could be over there instead, or either one. So it doesn't have to be in order. It just needs to be consecutive sequence. So if I put a consecutive sequence, so that's 3 digits in a row, connected here, clearly that doesn't work because you need at least 2 digits between them, but there is only 1 possible digit between them here. So if instead we put the 2 possible digits between them on a renban that is connecting them, I know that these digits that connect them and these digits that are on the renban connecting them must be from the set of the same digits. So if I had 1 and 4, these would be 2 and 3. If I had 2 and 5, these would be 3 and 4, etc., etc. And the interesting thing about this is that these have to be exactly 3 apart. Usually with between lines, if you have 2 distinct digits on the between line, the ends have to be at least 3 apart. But these have to be exactly 3 apart because the renban says that they can only be at most 3 apart, and this says they have to be at least 3 apart. So now we can say this digit, whatever this digit is, it has to appear in one of those 2 cells, and it can't appear in its same row. So these 2 digits are the same digit. These 2 digits are the same digit. This digit must be in here as well. This digit, this digit, this digit are all from the same set of digits. So we can just label them up. And we can see that pretty easily. If we put a 1 here and a 2 here, we'll get that arrangement. The colors match. And the reason I like using the true candidates at the beginning here to sort of think about what my idea for the puzzle is going to be is not that I want to make an entire puzzle or a break-in revolving around something that the human couldn't see. I want to see how these things are working. I want to see how these things are interacting and what sort of interesting things happen. For example, the next thing that I might put in is these. I really like this arrangement. Okay, the next thing that I like to do, or that I was thinking about doing here, is just sort of seeing, okay, one thing that you should notice right away is that 1 and 9 have been eliminated from here. 1 and 9. Why might 1 and 9 be eliminated from here? And this is where interesting things start to happen, and you start to think about, why is that the case? And this is maybe a dangerous path to walk down, because you don't want to be looking at things like, why are 1 and 9 not in here? Because the solver doesn't know to look for that. But what you should be doing is saying, okay, I know that 1 and 9 are not in here. What kind of restriction can I put in this area that will utilize the fact that I know that in the finished puzzle, 1 and 9 will not be here? It might be accidental that the solver figures out that 1 and 9 are not in here, but you know that there is no 1 and 9 in there, so we can use that. But let's think about why 1 and 9 are not there. And you want to think about how easy is it to figure out that 1 and 9 are not in here. That is the most important thing to think about when you're thinking about these things. How easy is it to recognize that? So if 1 is here or here, then we'll get something like this. Maybe 1 and 4. Okay, so 1 can't go on here, right? So one of these 2 strings will be 1, 2, 3. Let's just say it's this one. But that breaks this cell, because 2, 3 have to be between 1 and 4. Okay, so let's put it down here. Well, that also breaks a cell, this one. So what we can't have is 1 or 9 here by symmetry. So it would rule out those from being 1 or 9 and put 1 or 9 in here, which would rule out either all the options from that cell or that cell. So 1 or 9 cannot go in there. We know that for sure. What about here? Can a 9 go here and a 6 go here? well, then these would have to be 7 and 8. So you couldn't have 7, 8, 9 here. You couldn't have, or this one is also 7, 8, so you couldn't have 7, 8, 9 here. So since you have a 7, 8 here and a 7, 8 here, you need to put 1, 7 in here and 1, 8 in here, because you can't put both. But if you put an 8 in here, and you put a 7 in here, we need to put a 7 with the 8. We can't put 8, 9, nothing, right? There's not 3 digits that are consecutive that you can put there if you can't use 8 and 7. But you can't put 8 in here. So you have to put 8 and 7 in separate things, which is not possible. So 1 and 9 cannot go on either of these. And in my opinion, that is not a trivial deduction, but it is not an impossible deduction to make. It's probably not where the solver is looking unless we're pointing them to there. Which brings us to our next thing. I am going to put an X. Actually, I'm going to wait, because what I actually did when I was first looking at this first pattern, and we're gonna get off of this pattern because this is something that I have looked at previously earlier today, and this is sort of how I started. But we're just going to look at this is what I did. I went, okay, so 1 and 9 can't go in there. That seems like a good restriction. What sort of restrictions are there when we put a digit in here that is not 1 or 9? Let's put a 2 in. That's pretty restricted. We get some nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's put a 3 in. What happens? Okay, seems like no matter what you put in here, all of these things are determined. Let's put a 4 in. Okay, same sort of thing. 6 in, same sort of deal. 7 in, awesome. 8 in, awesome. So no matter what we do, no matter which value we choose of 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, we get a very restricted grid, which is great. You want a restricted grid. You don't want something that is not restricted, that isn't going to allow the solver to make deductions. Now, what digit did we not use? We didn't talk about 5. 5 allows this to be 2 or 8, because those are both 3 different from 5. 2 or 8 is annoying, because then you can't figure out these, and you can't start to make deductions about these. So I want to get rid of 5. Now I can do that in a number of ways. I could put a 5 down here, and that would be interesting, but that puts a 5 over here. That's not really what we were looking for. We wanted something a little bit more interesting. Maybe if we put a 5 over, well, we can't put a 5 in either of those, or a 5 in either of those. So 5 has to go on one of these, but I hate, and I will not clue on a renban. I hate doing that. I don't want to clue on a between line. If I was to put it in a given digit, it would be somewhere away from all the clues. So instead of that, I want to think about, okay, where can 5 not go? And my first thought was on an X. If I put an X, a 5 cannot go on the X. So let's try to put an X. Oh, well, that's interesting. Let's just think about that. So if there's a 2 here, we get a 5 here, we get a 1, 2, 3 up here, and this can't be an 8 because of that. If there's a 3 there, you can put a 7 here, which is nice. There's a 4 there, you can't put a 6 here because 6 will be on the line. It's not the same for 2. 7, you can put a 3 there. 6, 4 will be on the line in that case. So 8 and 2 seem to be the outliers in which if you put an X here, 8 and 2 are the ones that are a little bit finicky. You're not sure about them. So for 4 and 6, we're just going to ignore those because 4 and 6 will be on the line and you can't put it there. So we're going to put this X in, and we notice that there's a big restriction. And on here, we're also going to put that X in, and we're going to think about it. Think as if you have just opened this puzzle. This is what is shown. So we know that there's no 5 in here. We know that these digits are the same. We know that these digits are the same. We know that these are 3 different. If we do a little bit of work, we can figure out that this can't be 1, 9. So what can it be? Now, the next thing you might think is, okay, can it be 4, 6? And if it's 4, 6, this is a 7 or a 3, whatever. Okay, so if we do 4 and 7, then we will have to have a 6 between them, which will go there. 6 and 3 will have to have a 4 between them, and that will go on here, not there. So you can't have a 4, 6, which is, I think, pretty obvious. Now, what about 2 or 8? That is the weird one. So let's think about 2 for a second. If you put a 2 here and you put an 8 there, then these obviously have to be 3 and 4. So this cannot have a 3, 4 on it. So you could go 1, 2, 3. Or you could go something high. And of course, that same logic applies over here because we have a 3, 4. And we need to put, okay, so this is the interesting part. I think this is the same logic as the 1, 2. We need to put 3 on one of these and 4 on the other. And we can see that pretty easily because the yellow will go down here and the green will go up here. So if the yellow was 3 and the green was 4, this would be our arrangement. But if 3 goes down here, it can't have a 4 or a 2. So that won't work. We can't put a 3 down here. If we put a 3 up there, it can't have a 4 because this will be a 4 now. So we'll have to have 2 and 1. And the 4 will obviously have to have 5 then. And it can't have a 3, so it has to have a 6. And here we reach our problem. If you do this, you're forced into this situation. And there's an 8 in here. And that can't be an 8. So we can presume that if we put an 8 here, we have the same sort of thing, and that this must be a 3, 7. Now, that seems a little bit bifurcating. Not too optimal of a sort of path with this. So what we're going to think about when we're setting the rest of this puzzle is how we can make both the 1, 9 deduction in here and the 2, 8 deduction a little bit easier, is what we're going to think about. The 4, 6 deduction seems good. It seems like it's the right level. A 3, 7 will have to go with a 4, 6, of course, and this will have to be a 4, 5, and a 6. At this point, when I have something like this, it's good to start to think about what implications are there of this. I could look at this and start to work with implications on here, but I would say that gets into the realm of you should be setting with this sort of view of, okay, so I have this. What do I get from that? What is the solver looking at next? So we can look at I would probably say the next thing to look at is that this has to have a green and this has to have a yellow. We will have to have 4, 5, and 6 on these lines. The 5 will have to go away from either the 4 or the 6. Now, the easiest way to set something like this with colors is to choose a parity, because the parity is interchangeable. I could just change the parity back at the end if I really wanted to. So in this mode, I would be choosing a parity of, say, 3 and 7 there. This would have to be a 6. And I would continue from there, from that point, solving as if this is fixed. Now, it might not be fixed for the solver, but if it isn't fixed and it's a big problem when we test solve, then we're just going to add maybe a thermometer or something that will disambiguate it earlier than later, because maybe it won't be fun. So in this case, we can remove 6s from all of those. And then we can look at this and say, okay, so this will not have that digit on there. So the 4 will have to go on a different one from the 5, and it will have to go down. So it will have to have a 3 on it. The 4 will have to have a 3 on it. So we know that there's no 4 or 5 in there. So there's either a 4 there or a 4 there. But we know that the 4 renban has a 3 on it. So it can't be there. It has to be up here. And it has to go all the way down because the other one has a 5 on it. So we get to this place. And that will be a 2, 3. Okay. We have this. We have a 2, 3 here. And we're probably thinking now, what sort of deduction might come next? Where will they be looking? I would probably be looking in this column. Oh, I would probably be looking at the green and yellow, which we have now determined to be 4 and 5 in this order. Now we know if we want to open up maybe a new copy of this puzzle, now we know that regardless of what sort of parity we have, we're actually going to undo here until we were before the parity. We know that regardless of what the parity was, so if I had chosen, let's say we chose 3 and 7 here instead, with a 4 here, and then this would be a 5, 6 instead. Now we need to put a 5 and a 6 onto different renbans in here, and the 6 will have to go with a 7 because it can't go down with a 5. So the 6 can't go there, so the 6 will have to go up here with a 7, and this will have to be 5, 4, 3, and we know that this therefore is a 6 and this is a 5. So regardless of the parity, we know that this is a 5 and that this is 4 and 6. This will have a 5 and a 4, 6, 7, and this digit will be on there. And we're actually just going to change that to be yellow. That's in settings, so that will get upset with me. We're just going to change this digit to be yellow because that digit will have to go with 5 because the green digit is up here. And the green digit will be either 2, 3, 4 or 6, 7, 8, or the green renban. So in here, we will always have a 1 and a 9, and either a 2 or an 8, depending upon what green is. And then over here, we will always have a 2, 8, 3, or 7, and this is important. This will always be a consecutive sequence. Notice how this is 2, 3. This will be a consecutive sequence. We're going to get rid of the every time. I always press Control S instead of Control A. We're going to get rid of those because we're also going to get rid of the other color because we don't need it in the setting 2. And now we're going to continue with this. Or perhaps we should continue with this because this has the parity undetermined. So let's continue with this right now. And when we have 3 variants, we need to sort of think about what variant are we going to lean on? What variant are we going to leave for now? What sort of things are we doing? So we could either lean on the between lines, which do get quite cluttered, the renban, or the X's. I've already made a puzzle which leans heavily on the X's and the renbans, and I have another idea, another small idea for an interaction between renbans and X's. For example, so my other puzzle was called Horseshoes and Hand Grenades, and it used the fact that if you have an X in a box with a horseshoe or a 4-cell renban, then I've just realized that, oh no, this doesn't apply. I'm silly. But so imagine that this had a 1 on it. If this had a 1 on it, then you would have 1 with 2, 3, 4, because that's the only way to fill this renban. And then this X will have no value because you can have a 6, 7, 8, or 9 on it, but you can't have a 1, 2, 3, or 4 to go with it. So, and you can also not have a 9 on there for the same reason. If you had a 9, then you could only put 1, 2, 3, 4 on there, not anything else. The thing that I was thinking about was if you have a 2-cell, if you have a 3-cell renban and 2 X's, then you still can't put a 1 on here. Because if you put a 1 on there, the other 2 cells will be 2, 3, and this could only be 4, 6 both ways. So that's interesting. Now I'm interested to see if you put a 2 on there, you could do 3, 4, but you could still only do 1, 9. And if you did 1, 2, 3, that would be the same thing. If you put a 3 on here, you can escape to a 5. And then you can do 2, 8, 9. And if you put a 4, 6, 4, 5, 6, then you can do a 1, 2, 3 on both with a 7, 8, 9. Okay. So that's a little, this is normally what you would do when you set, you sort of think about, okay, so what sort of restrictions do we have here? So now what I'm interested in, so we know that if we have a 3-cell renban with 2 X's, we need a 5 on it. So that means we can't do that in this box, in this box, in this box, or of course in this box. And we're quite limited with where we can put the 5s, so we can't put 5s in any of these cells. So we need to be careful to allow one of these cells to be a 5. This is interesting to me. This is 2 4s and 6s looking at these cells. So green will have to go in there. So, and actually green will have to go in there and there. It's sort of a mirror of the 5s. So an interesting thing to ask might be if we have a 3-cell renban, which does this in this box, what, and we have 2 x's, and we have 2 x's, maybe an x here and an x here, I think, would force that to be green, I think. What combination can we have here? Notice that there's a 3-7 looking here, and we have a 4-6 looking at these 3. Remember, we can't, if we put a 9 on here, we'll have to do 8 and 7, and now this has to be double 4-6. That won't work. Not least because we have a 4-6 looking at this one. I'm actually going to change that. I want this one to be that way. I do prefer, I don't like that. I actually don't like that. I would prefer if instead we could do, no, I don't think it's going to work. Let me just, I'm not being articulate at all. I'm trying to think of a good way to arrange these so that it doesn't, so what I don't want is for this x to somehow convey the meaning that we should be looking at the different x's and what they could have. Well, I mean, we do want them to look at this x, but we don't want them to look at this x until they have more stuff down here. We want to make things just enticing enough. So that is a bad line. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the line we had before is the best line. Or of course its counterpart, that one. So I think we're going to go with this one. And we're going to put x's there and could do one there or one there. We'll keep it sort of open. We'll think about it a little bit. But the point is that, of course, you can't have a 5 there. So there's a 5 on here. We know there's a 5 on there. I was trying to get it so that you didn't have to put a 5 on the renban and that we didn't have to put an x in here. But I can't put 2 x's that overlap in this green because we're going to have to put a yellow on here. So that won't work. So we're going to have to put a 5 in here, of course. And then we can't put a green on this at all. So this can't be 4, 5, 6. Remember when we were going through the options, it was 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, or 5, 6, 7. We can't now put a 4 and a 6 on here because it will not be green, and 4, 5. And green is 4 or 6. So we have to put a 3 or a 7 on here. And this digit cannot be 3 or 7. So that has to be 4 or 6. So then this will be a 3, 5, 7, whatever digit that is the same parity as this. And this will be that digit. Now we can actually work out that this digit and this digit have opposite parities. If I put a 3 here, I need to put a 6 here, and 4 here would put a 7 here. So this digit and the digit up here are the same digit because this will have the same parity as that. And we actually know then that that's down there and that this one will be up there. Trying to use some very calm colors here. We know that this cannot be a 4, 6x or a 3, 7 because we have one of the 3 7s in here. So this, oh, is broken, actually. I need to put this X here. Yeah, so why is that broken? Well, if I put that X there, this has to be a 4-6, this has to be green, because 4-6 can't go in there, of course. But then we have a 3-7 in here and a 5 and a 4-6 up here. What can that digit be? These can't have 4-6 or 3-7, so they have to be a 1-2-8-9 quintuple or quadruple. So this has to be a 3 or a 7, but it can't be. So that's why we need to put that X vertical. And now I think I want that there. So we'll move that out of the way. We'll put that as a 4-6. This will be a 3-7, which means that we have some kind of, we actually have roping here, which is interesting. We have this being a 3-7 pair, and this being the same digits as there, and this being the same digits as there. And of course, that will mean that these digits are in here and in here. I'm actually going to highlight those. These digits will be in here and in here. Highlight those. Very colorful grid. We know these are pairs of 1-9 and 2-8, but we don't know which one is which. We're going to go back to here. We're going to put in what we've done to make sure that we have not broken anything. This is, you should be doing this regularly. At least we should be going in here and checking to see if it's not broken, but this will give us a little bit more interesting things. So it looks like we've determined most of the logic here, or at least the logic in here is determinable by us in the logical framework. This is sort of the logical framework, and this is the does it have a solution framework. And we can look at how we're doing for solution counts. As expected, we are nowhere near. There's nothing, if we put anything in here, we wouldn't get a solution right away, or we need close to a solution, and that's to be expected. We shouldn't expect a solution right away, but sometimes I do like to check just in case there is something miraculous. It's good to check. But the other thing that might be interesting is, now I don't know if we have enough room for this. I've just realized to put all these colors in when I was in setting mode. So they're going to be permanently there if we don't deal with that. I don't want to deal with that though. I will have to deal with that though. So we're going to actually remove those colors. We're going to remove the 3 and the 7 colors. I think we need to remove those colors as well, and perhaps these colors as well. Okay, we're going to go back to solving, and we're going to recolor everything. I think we're mostly clued into what we are trying to accomplish. The coloring. This is the same parity as that, so that goes there. This one is the same parity as that one, so that will go, we have that color, I think. So that one will actually go over there, which is good to know. Put that one there. I'm going to leave the 1s and 9s uncolored for now, because I think we'll probably color the 1s and 9s individually when they show up. Okay, that's now colored, and it is not horrible to look at. It's actually quite nice to look at. And These are the same parity. So this digit, whatever is in here, will also be up here. So then we'll also be down here. And of course, that will rope in the middle 3 columns. By roping, I mean that if we know that these 3 are the same as these 3 are the same as these 3, so then these ones will go map to here, will map to here, so then these ones will map to here, will map to here. That's what roping is. So we need to think about what will the solver be thinking about. They just got this 3-7 pair. They just got a 6 up here. So they might be thinking about the 6's impact in these boxes. Perhaps if you had an X in here, that couldn't be whatever that is, so that would have to be that one. Same is true over here if you put an X in here. So we can only put one more X in this row, unless we attach it to these, of course. If we put that X there, this would be a 4 or 5 pair. And then you would get a 5 down here. And if we put that with a renban, then we would know that the other one was a 6. That might be a good little exploration. So let's try that sort of thing. So if we put an X down here, we're now leaning mostly on X's and renbans. And then we put a renban here. We know that this can't be a 5, so then we get a 5, 4, 6 pair, or triple, I guess. I guess we can keep the 5 there. 5 green pair. The 5s will align, giving us a 5 down here. But the 5 could be hidden there. If this was a 3-cell renban, we would actually know that it's the same contents as this renban, which is the same contents as this renban. I see something now. What if I put an X here? Let me go back here. So what if I put an X here, then I know that this is the same as that. Let me label that as, I don't have any neutral colors left anymore. That. I know that this contains the same thing as this one and this one. These ones must be the same as these ones. You can use green maybe. We can actually even better say that these ones are the exact same digit. Let's to be blue. So blue must be down here because it sees this thing by medium of multiple ways. So then this has to be a blue-purple pair, which means blue does not go with purple. Since this one will go in here, these two add to 10. So if I know that one of these two is 2, 8, then I know that one of these two is 2, 8. In fact, I knew that before. I know that one of these is 1, 9, and one of them is 2, 8. But if I have a 2, 8 in here, and then a 2, 8 in here, this has to be 1, 9. Okay, that makes sense. So I know that this is 1, 9. Right, I said that this can't be purple because these dominoes, or not dominoes, but these two cells have to add to 10. And if I had 1, 9 down here, those don't add to 10 in here because we'll have either 2, 1 or 8, 9 or something like that, which don't add to 10. So we know that this is not purple because purple is in here. And this is purple, so it's not blue. So this is a 2, 8, this is a 1, 9, this is a 1, 9, this is a 2, 8. And we know that this is yellow or whatever. Now we know that purple is aligning in these two columns. So purple will go down here. We know purple and yellow are down here. We know blue and green are down here. We know that this is yellow, blue, and green. This is getting very colorful. I'm thinking we might leave the colorfulness till the end because I do 4, 6, 1, 9. I do really appreciate a very colorful puzzle. Oh, look at this. This is green. Probably have that on the other screen, don't we? This is a 2, 8. This is a 1, 9. Now we know that yellow's not in there. We actually know that green is down here. We know that blue is in there. We know, I was hoping we might know something more about 3s and 7s. So that does nothing. Literally nothing. So we're not going to add it. See, this is why sometimes I like to set with true candidates just in the background, because I don't want to put the renban in here. Have I been coloring with setting mode on? Oh my word. Okay, well, it's fine. We'll just solve in setting mode like an imbecile. But see, I don't want to put the renban in here and then have it so that the solver, or the solver as in me, has to go through the options of this renban and think about them when there's nothing defined. And I often see this in puzzles where there's just random clues that don't really do anything. Maybe just for symmetry, but they're quite distracting. They are indeed. So it's kind of interesting with this 4 and 5 and 6 in here. And we know that if we have yellow in there actually. We knew a little bit more about yellow in this box. We actually do know it's in there with the blue 4637. We know blue is somewhere up here and that. So let me just good lift this. This is 4-6 and then this is 3-7. So this is only 3-7. So if we were to attach an X to it, perhaps going this way so it's not as obvious. This part of the grid is very cluttered though, so I don't think I want to do that. I will come back to that if it changes. If we put yellow here and the yellow there, the yellow will be there and form a pair, which will make this 3-7. Should make that 3-7. Okay. Not really seeing a whole lot there. Sorry. I think it's a little bit hard to see through these colors, so I'm actually going to go back to this one, put in what I have here. And we don't know the parity of this. So by putting a renban here, for example, we could link the parity of whatever this is to green. And we know that this has the same parity as that. So we can sort of link the parity together by putting a renban there. Or we could do the other way around. No, we couldn't. I was going to say we could put an X here, but that won't work. Surprise, surprise. But that is an option to link the parity of those. Okay, so this is, so between lines is telling me to look at this. Because if I connect something across there, if I connect 3 cells across there, we know that it has to be 1, 9 and not 6. But do I want to connect 3 cells across there? Maybe I want to connect 2 cells across there, and then it's sort of arbitrary whether it's 1, 9 or 6, 9 or 1, 6. It could be 1, 6 in that case as well. 4, 5, 2, 3. Those can't be 4, 5, so they'd have to be 2, 3. Then that would have to be a 4 and a 5. Seems kind of sus. Let me look back here for a second. Let me look at this actually. Let me look at this. So if I put a between line right there, is that guaranteed to be 1, 9? This will take a while to look because I think, no, it isn't. So if I put a 6 on the end, obviously the other end has to be a 1. It has to be a 5, 2, 3, like we said. So maybe what we do is we make this a between line, and then we make an X. If we put 6 at the bottom, it's the same thing, right? I'm just making sure. Yeah, okay, it's the same thing. Actually, maybe we should think about which way is better. Okay, let me think about which way is better. Oh. No, that's not. I was thinking maybe we could determine the parity because the 1 will have to go with the 6, but of course the 4 could go with the 9 and it would be the same thing. So we can't actually determine the parity with that. I don't think you can determine the parity with any of this stuff. We'll have to add a given digit or something. I should probably go down here. But what I was thinking was adding, I think there, I would prefer an X there. So this is 1, 9, therefore, and this is 4 or 6. This will be the 4 or 6, which is the interesting part, I think. Yeah, okay. So that's really enticing. Does this provide any link between, say, these parities? Perhaps if we could, no, I don't think it does. Don't think it does. Still considering this renban line to cell 1 to provide that link. Let me think about, let's put that in here. Maybe we'll put it in here actually, just to see what sort of deductions we can get out of that. Did add, we did not add. Don't want to forget a clue here. But we did want to think about that in this context. So if that is the case, this has to be, we'll go into solving mode, 2 and 1 and 3 and 2 and 8 and 9 and 1 and 1 and 9 and 1. So that can't be a 1. There's a 3 in here. So there's a 3 down here. There's a 9 in one of those two. There's a 1 right here. Yeah, that's what that does. And then apparently, you can also get a 9 up here, I think. Don't know why. this can easily be seen. There's a 2 over here clearly, so this has to be a 3. This has to be a 2. Oh, of course, this is a 2-3 pair. I'm an idiot. So this is a 4-9, so that's not a 9, of course. So this is a 9. This is a 7, this is a 3, this is a 3. Okay, so that is cool. And not very hard, like I was trying to make it. That's a 1-8. Okay. So now we come to the point in the puzzle where we sort of have to disambiguate the end. So usually it's a thermometer or a greater than less than symbol. That seems so lame though. Is there anything more interesting that we could use? An even or an odd when it's about high-low parity could be interesting. But not that interesting. Let me think about even or odd for a second. If this, so this being odd might be interesting, but I really don't want to clutter this area because this is the break-in. So what we're going to probably do instead of even odd is we're going to add in a thermometer. And what I usually do is I don't actually add in a thermometer. I usually look for cells. Usually I have more restriction than this, and I have like, could be solved soon. But here looks like, so we know that this is consecutive. We know that this is not consecutive. We know that this does not have a 1 or a 9 in it. So if we added an X in here, it wouldn't disrupt the earlier logic, I don't think. But it would tell us. So let me see here. So if this is, add in an X right there. What does that do? And of course, since this is high-low parity, this will have the same X properties, being if this was 1-6 and this was 4-3, we would still know that the 4 and the 6 would have to join, regardless of which order it is, because 1 and 3 can't join either. Similarly with 7 and 9. So here, when we don't know the parity, we still have to use 4 and 6. We just don't know the order yet. We'll figure that out in a bit with the thermometer or something like that, or maybe a given digit. We should use maybe a given digit. 4, 6. Okay. Why you still no solve? These 5, 6, 7 triples are ruining my life. We need to somehow deal with those. Maybe instead, if there's an X there. See, this is what I was trying to get as a 9 here. So perhaps that's an X. No. Yeah, you can't put a 2-8 in this direction. That doesn't work. Obviously. Hello. This is not in the video, but I'm just going to talk over this part because I'm just playing with some thermometers here. And I actually wanted to talk about the fact that we actually shouldn't be doing this sort of thing to disambiguate our puzzles. And I'm being a little bit silly in this video because it's already been, I don't know, 2 hours now, and I'm getting a little bit fatigued, and I should have taken a break instead of trying to finish the puzzle right away. What we should be doing for disambiguating our puzzles is going through a test solve without the disambiguation, and then saying, is it fair, is it fun to do without disambiguating at the beginning? If it isn't fun, what you should do is try to disambiguate at the beginning. But if it is fun, what we should do is that we should try to figure out a way that we have a deduction at some point in the puzzle that would lead to a natural progression that would disambiguate everything. This way we can make the disambiguating thermometer or X or odd even have an interesting logic. So don't just play with things in true candidates like I'm doing right here. Try and actually go through the puzzle, find where you are, and find what comes next. Thank you. Maybe one of these? Oh, that's really close. Okay. That and that. Oh. Okay. We have a solution. Now, at this point, usually I just go and test it because we have a solution. So, and we didn't use the true candidates for that. We used the solution path with our fair deduction here. So we can try and test solve it. We shouldn't just publish it here. That is absolutely not what you should do. You should test solve it, see where the sticking points are, what's going on, is it good, is it bad, might not be good, and then if it is bad, we'll need to reassess. Okay, so let's take our time with this. We know that this digit is that digit, is that digit, is that digit. We know that these digits are the same. We know that 5 can't go on here. So 2 and 8 can't go in there. We know that let's try and look at other places in the grid. I know it's very tempting to start with your break-in, but ideally, you want to be looking for what a solver would do. So we want to be looking at other places in the grid, especially ones that are affected by these thermometers that we haphazardly put in. We get green up there, we get yellow up there. get yellow up there and green down here. Hope you can't hear my cat playing with the ball track, but you probably can. Trying to look for anything that is suspicious. So is there anything about this that is suspicious? That's 3, 7. So I think initially this is going to draw the most attention, and the deduction that these are 3 apart will probably draw a lot of attention. And then what we should be thinking about is there anything that comes after these are 3 apart that we need to be careful of? Is there anything that they can get from that that isn't on our solve path, that isn't what we intended? And that might be okay. There are lots of very interesting things that you did not intend to happen that are great for your puzzle. So, for example, I can't see anything that is interesting about these being 3 different. Where does... I'm trying to think about geometry. So for example, this digit can't go in there, obviously, and can't go in there because it can't be on its own between line, so it has to be in there. This digit can't go in there or there, so it has to be down here. Don't think that's very helpful. We know that the digit that is attached to this. No, we don't know that, actually. I was gonna say, sorry. We know that the digit attached to this cannot go on this line, but it can if you had 4, 4, 6, then 6 and 8. That would work. It's gonna be 7. 7 and 3 or something. Or 7 and 5, not 7 and 3. So that would work. So we don't know anything about that. I can't see anything to do. Potentially I am missing something. Is this somehow more constrained than I previously thought? I'm actually going to open up a new grid. Going to open a new link for this. I'm going to connect it to the solver, and I'm going to remove the break-in. I'm going to see how far it can get. That's not very far. Yeah. That was better than I thought it would be for that illustration. But we should really calculate true candidates to just make sure, because sometimes it does miss things. Like the 3, 7 here is a fair deduction that it isn't getting with this. You can't. I think it's hilarious, by the way, when I send a puzzle to someone and then they say, oh, I clicked the solution path on F puzzles and it didn't solve it. No, of course not. You think that I would only put in deductions that are trivial? I mean, I know the contradictions are not trivial, but if I'm publishing a puzzle, usually there's going to be something a little bit more tricky than just, oh, if this is that, then this is that, and this is that. And just pointing pairs and X-wings are not very interesting. So you can put it into F puzzles, but like, I don't know what to say. Like, Of course it didn't solve it. If it did, I wouldn't publish it unless I'm trying to make an easy puzzle, because it's usually just not very interesting. Sometimes it's interesting, lots of times it's not. Most of the time it's not, I would say. But something like this, which can't be solved by the solution path, is very interesting and might be able to be solved if you just maybe put in some like one deduction. This is a 3-7. Hey, it's solved, right? So if you ever get a puzzle and you put it into puzzles and you say, it didn't solve it, you probably wouldn't. It wouldn't make sense to. So let me write in an X here. So that might help it. But anyways, we're going to do our test solve while this runs. We're going to reset the clock. I'm actually just going to hide that so I don't feel bad about myself. And we're going to think through this deduction one more time. Okay. So we know that if we do a 4-6, that is very silly because you need to put a 3-7 over here, and you'll need to put a 4-6 onto the line, and that's just way too many 4s and 6s. So you can't put a 4-6 in this cell. So the options left are 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. So the options here are 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. And if you do, so wait, let me think. So the thing we should be thinking about is not actually this. It's these two. These have to go on separate lines. And they can't have each other. Like I can't put both green and yellow on there. I can't put both green and yellow on here. But these are on a 4-cell renban. And they are next to each other on the renban. Not in terms of, oh, it can be in any order, but they're between these two numbers. So they need to be next to each other. They need to be 2 or 3, they need to be 4 or 5, something like that. So if I can't include the digit next to it on here, I'll have to go up or down. But if I choose something as low as 2, and I go, if I have 2, 3 on here, then I can't put, one of these will have a 2 on it, and it can't have a 3. But then it can't be anything, because you can't do 2, 1 on a 3-cell renban. There's not enough cells. So I can't put a 2, 3 in here. I can't put a 7, 8. So this cannot be 1 or 9. That's easier. A little bit easier once we think about it for a while. This is still calculating, of course. A little bit easier once you think about it for a while. If I put a 2, 8 in here, I will have to put a 5 in here. And then let's just think 2 and 5 will have 3, 4 on here. Now we need to be careful about the 2. The 3 will have a 1, 2, 3, right? So it can't be down here because then that would clash with the 2. And that's completely symmetric. If we put 8 here, then the 7 will be on here, and we can't put the 7 and the 8 down here. So this will have to be 7, 8, 9, or 1, 2, 3. And this will have to be, this will have a 5 on it. So it'll have to be 4, 5, 6. But then this will be 7, 8, 9, and this will clash with the 8. And that's, I think that one's also pretty easy to see. So this can't have 2 or 8 on it. So that's a 3, 7. This is a 4, 6. Now we know from over here, if we put this as a 3, 7, it can solve logically. And let's actually look. It's very good to see sometimes if you turn off contradictions, how well does it solve it? Not very well, apparently. So this is because it can't even say, like, it can't find that this is a 4 or a 6, because this is what I mean also when people say they put it into F puzzles. Some people say, I put it into F puzzles and I turned contradictions off because that's guessing. And it didn't find anything. Well, the contradictions for a computer is not guessing. Contradictions for a computer is brain dead stupid things. I'm not joking. It is brain dead stupid things like this. This can obviously only be 4 or 6. Any human will tell you that. But a computer who can't use contradictions and can't think logically will not be able to eliminate 2 and 8 from there, even though it's completely obvious that if this has 4, 6 on it, this cannot have 2, 8 on it, because these are the digits between these 2 digits. So a computer is not smart, it is stupid. So don't tell me that you can't solve my puzzle. Please tell me if you can't solve my puzzle, but don't tell me if you can't solve my puzzle if you put it into F puzzles, and then don't tell me that part, because it's just ridiculous. So let's think here. So this is 4, 5, and 6, clearly. Now, I think we were thinking, so clearly it's a big problem still that these have to go on opposite things. So we'll have to have one that's like 4, 5, 3, and then the other one will be 6, 7, 8, if 6 was green. But if you have where did this go wrong? 4, 5, 6. Something about where does 5 go? Right, okay, right, I got it. These are opposite parities, right? This is, if this is low, this is high. This is 3, this is 6, this is 7, this is 4. So this has the same parity as whatever digit is on there. So if that digit that's on there is green, this will be on here. You'll have, if this is a 3, then this will be 3, 4, 5, or 3, 2, 3, 4, if this is a 4. So clearly, this can't be a 4 or a 6. This has to be a 5. Easy. I mean, these are 5s. Not that easy, but again, we're not looking for easy deductions. We're looking for interesting deductions. Okay, now we have our 5s, so we can just put those in. We can highlight the green away and maybe assign this to be green. Now, the next thing you could do is look over here and determine all this stuff, but that is probably a lot of work. I do want to look at this though. I want to look at this. And we know this is 1, 2, 8, 9, of course. And we know that this will be on there, and this will be on here. So these are the same parity. We also know I think this has to be, so if this is 2, 8, you can't include a digit like 8. This is either 4, 6, or 3, 7, I think. You can include an 8. Okay, I don't think you know anything about this. I don't think you do, but maybe you do, and I'm just being stupid. So now I think people might look up here, seeing that there are two X's in the box. Don't think that is true in any other case. No. People might look up here because of this. This. Looking up here, this cannot be 4 or 6, because then you would need another 4 or 6, and you would eliminate that square. So this has to be a 4 or a 6. That's not a 4 or 6 anymore, or that's not a yellow. That's not a 5. So this is a yellow 5 pair, 4, 5, 6. This is lower than 4, 5, or 6. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, or not 4, 5, because the 5 was over there. But this will probably help us determine something. And we need to watch out for these things, just in case they come up. Okay. These digits, these digits have to contain a 5 now. No, they don't. Well, they do, but you get that by saying, okay, if we don't have a 5, then we'll have something like 2, 3, 4, which will eliminate all the we will need to put 1, 9 in both of these. So we need to have a 5 in there. So we have a 5 in there. And then 5 will go with 1 of 4 is 6. So we have to have a green in here. 5 in green. And it's either going to go with 3 or 7. But 3 or 7 is looking at that square. And that square can't be a 5. So that is the green 4, 6. And this is our purple 5 pair. This has to be 1, 9, or 2, 6, or 2, 8. This is also 1, 9, or 2, 8, but we don't know which one is which. I think we do not know that yet. I think that was determined here. So now we know there's a 5 down here, and that 5 cannot go with this 4 or 6, so it has to go upwards to this green, and then also take the purple because it still can't take the yellow. Okay, so this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So these digits are, this can't be 3, 7. This can't be 3, 7. This can't be 3, 7. It could be 3, 7, but these digits can't be 3, 7 because there's a 3, 7 in the box. So this is 3, 7, and that is red. Now we have a 3, 7 pair in this box. We have over here, we need 1, 2, 8, 9. These are the same as these. This has a 1 or this has a 2 or an 8 in it, right? This might be a sticking point, actually. So here we know that this has a 2 or an 8 in it, but do they know that it is a 2 or an 8 in it? We know that this does not have a 2 or an 8 in it. We know that this cannot have 2 or 8s in it, so this must have a 2 or 8 in it. Next, we know that these are roping. So these 2 digits will be in there, and these 2 digits will be in there. So we know that one of these 2 digits is a 2, 8, because it will pair with its friend in the bottom, because these 2 dominoes both add to 10. So one of these 2 digits is a 2 or 8, and one of these digits is a 2 or 8. So what digit cannot be 2 or 8? That one. That's a 1, 9. That's a 2, 8. That's a 1, 9. And I'm going to take a break here. All right, I'm back now, very refreshed. Had a Halloween snack and smoothie. Ready to solve the rest of this, test solve the rest of this puzzle. So this clearly is 2 and 8. It's the last thing in the column. This has to be 1, 9, and 6. Clearly that will be 1, 9, no, 4, 6, sorry, 4, 6. So if this is 9, that has to be 4 because you can't fit 3 digits in. 9 and 4 have 5, 6, 7, 8 between them. Clearly 5 couldn't go up there. Neither could 6. So that would have to be 7, 8, or 2, 3. That couldn't be 6 either. Okay, so that would be also be 7, 8, or 2, 3. This one could not be 7, 8, or 2, 3. It would have to be 4, 5, or 6. But if this is 2, 3, this is 2, 3, 4. This will have no fill. This is 7, 8, 6. This will have no fill. So this has to be a 5. Means those are not 5s. This has to be 4, 6, or 3, 7. More ball track playing, of course. There's no 5 here. So there is a 5 here. So there is a 5 here. This is obviously 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. This is those digits. Cats think they're very funny. Indeed. This will be those digits. So this will actually not be anything but yellow. So if that's yellow, this can't be 4, 6. So that will be the 3, 7, and this will be the 2, 8. That is much easier to see now. And that will have to be the 4, 6. So that can't be the 4, 6. So that can't be the 3, 7. Okay. So this is that, and this is that, and this is that, and this is that. And we get a green 4, 6 down here, except that blocks off that one. So it's on this thermometer. Cats are having a lot of fun right now. Sorry about that. It's clearly 2, 8, 3, 7. This has to be 1, 9 because there's a 1, 9 down here and a 1, 9 over here. So there's no 1 or 9 in there. So that's 1, 9. This has to be a 2, 8. So this has to be a 3, 7. This has to be red. So red goes up here. It's not red. That has red in it. There's a pink over here. I think it might be time to color these as well. The thermos are not giving us anything early on, it seems, which is fine. I don't mind that, so it seems fine. This is green, So this is green and this is red. Red is on the thermo. That's kind of interesting. Could be on either one though, so it doesn't really tell us much. We need another digit on the thermo to tell us what's going on. If this is the other 2 or 8, which has to go right there. And is that digit as well. It's in here somewhere and in here, obviously. So it must be up here. And it's somewhere in here. We know that these are the same digit, all those. And these are the same digit. And those digits are over here, I guess. Just have to color everything, apparently. This is a gray thing pair. A gray thing pair, yeah. A gray thing pair. So wait, so this is 9, these are 7, 8. If this is 1, these are 2, 3. So this has the same parity as this, and this has the same parity as this. So this is gray. This is green, which means that this is gray, and this is yellow. So that's a 2, 8. I feel like I've made a mistake, so I'm gonna just make sure that this is actually a 2 or an 8. Maybe I should just do solution path. It's usually faster. No logical steps found. Oh, right, I have contradictions off. That was from earlier, and I forgot. It's been a while. Oh, that is a 2 or an 8. Okay, good. It's like, it's not a 2 or an 8. Are we sure about that? So there's definitely a gray up here, which is another pair of those digits, which is good for us. That's no longer yellow. That's not green. That's rose or whatever. That is no longer green. So this is green. That is not green. So this is green. This is red, so that's not red. That is not pink. So this is a 3, 7. This is a 2, 8. Excuse me. Hello, I'm back. I took a little unexpected break, but we can continue now. This obviously happens a lot when you're setting, but we should get back to this test solve. So I see that there are 2 grays down here. So there's a gray up here. That is actually quite interesting because of the thermometer, but we can't do anything with it yet. Of course. So think here. Where is red? Oh, this is that color. This is red. So this is a green purple pair, 3, 7, 4, and 6. Sorry, just 1 second. Sorry, my cat is very upset that he fell off the window. Well, he didn't fall off the window, but he probably jumped down to get a bug or something and can't get back up. But that's okay. He should be fine. We have that. So up here, we have our 2, 8, so we can remove 2 from there. Pressing F2. We have 1, 3, 4, 6, and 9 in that cell. Okay, over here we have 3, 7 from the red, and then we could have another 3, 7 or 4, 6 from below, from the purple, or sorry, not from the purple, but from the green, the light green. And then we could also, I think, have not a 1, 9, but a, or is that it? I think that might be it. So this can be pink. I think both of these can be light green. And I think this entire thing can be purple. It's obviously a green-yellow pair. Okay, maybe we should look here instead. So what's left in here? We have a 1, 9 left to place. We have 2, 4, 6s left to place, and we have 1, 3, 7 left to place. The 4, 6 is combined to those cells. So that's not a 4, 6. I accidentally clicked 7. 1, 9 is not in those 2 cells. That obviously can't be a 1. The 3, 7 is not in those 2 cells. So this is the 3, 7. It's pretty obvious. This is the green, so that's not a green, which we could see down here as well. Those two are pretty, we should have gotten that before. This is clearly a light red and light yellow pair, which we don't know how to resolve. So how does this solve? Okay, I'll go up here. We'll pencil mark the whole grid. 1, 9, 2, 8. We need a 3, 7, and we need a 4, 6. So everything but 5. We have a 4, 6 and a 3, 7 in this row. So 3, 7, 4, 6 are gone. We're only looking for these 3 colors. So pink and yellow are in that pair, potentially. Over here, we have our 3, 7 in that column. So the last 3, 7 is over there, which we knew. We can't have a 4 there. So wait, so I'm actually going to look at this for a second. Is this the same parity as that? So we know that this is the same parity as this because of this. Can we link? We know that this is the opposite parity to this because it's linked to red. So this is the opposite parity of this or that. So then this is the same parity as that. So this can't be 4, 9. This can't be 4, 9. This is either 6, 9 or 4, 6. I'm gonna like write that 4. If that's a 4, that's a 6. If that's a 6, that's a 9. 4. Wait, we said that's the same parity. Yeah, so that can't be 4 and 9 because then that would be opposite parity. So if it's 4 and 6, this will be a 1. If this is 6 and 9, this will be a 4. And those are the only two options, right? So this is either this is 1 or 4. Okay. This is a hard end. Okay, so maybe we should look back up here. So wait, so let's just fill these in. So these can all be rows. These can all be yellow. I think they can all be that yellow too. Oh, oh, that's gross. That obviously can't be a 9, and that can't be a 9. So 9 is in there. That can't be a 1. So let's think. If this is yellow, then it has the same parity as red, the opposite parity as green. We said these two had the same parity, so yellow would have the opposite parity of rows. Yellow would have the opposite parity as rows. So if this is a 1, this is a 6. Or a 5. I don't think this is a good end. It might be a good end, but I am too stupid to see if it is a good end. This is something that I think could be a good end because it isn't trivial, clearly. Or maybe it is, and I'm stupid. But it's clearly not obvious, and it's certainly interesting. I'm not sure if it's doable, but it's certainly interesting. We're going to actually not do that. We're just going to speed through this part because it's just a bunch of me trying to figure out if you can even bifurcate to get the solution and how easy that would be, and if like where you would look is the right place to look, and it's just not good. It's just not a good puzzle at this point, so we're gonna have to do something different here. We're gonna have to get rid of some thermometers Now the ones at the bottom, the box 9, I really liked that thermometer. It had some interesting logic, which we discussed. But the other two are clearly not cutting it, or maybe I'm missing something. I know there was a 9 in row 1, column 2 that I seem to have missed in the video. That was in the true candidates, but I'm not sure if that was in the logical candidates. So there could have been something easier that I was just completely missing or glossed over. So if there was something, I apologize, but yeah, this is not working, and I didn't want to continue with it. So we'll continue with something else now. That's not good. I don't think that is what we wanted to see from this deduction. We have put very little. I just want to get rid of this. This is also why I don't do this type of bifurcating, because doing this is painful. Okay, it's good now. Okay, we need another clue because this is not working. This thermometer thing in the corner is bad. I really like this thermometer, but the rest of them kind of suck. So we're just going to clear that. We're going to do a solution path on that. We're going to get rid of that, put in a 3, 7. See where that gets us. Okay, it gets us to here. Now, let's look here. So this thermometer, which is very interesting, will be our disambiguating thermometer. And we know that this, I think that we can use that as a disambiguating thermometer. This thermometer is okay. Maybe this box needs difference. Like, we throw in that thermometer. Actually, just gonna, let's just do a 3 here, just so it. Okay, so that's good. So that should disambiguate the 2 solutions. I don't mind this thermometer, so let's just keep it. Don't want to do any more thermometers. I want to maybe do a renban, maybe here. Something that isn't going to interrupt the path. Okay, maybe like that. And then we'll, sometimes I like to include logical candidates. Okay, this is a logical path apparently. So we'll just clear, we'll do the solution path without the 7. Don't do that. Get rid of the 7, solution path. Okay, good. Now 3, 7, solution path. Okay. Hopefully, now if I go in and remove these 2 thermometers, put in a renban line right here, and then delete all of those, including the highlighting, and then do that from scratch, we will have something interesting. So we have, again, 1, 2, 8, 9 in there. That doesn't give me anything interesting right away. The 6 here tells us that there's a 6 in one of these 3. We know that there's a 4 probably in all of those. A 3, 7 only over here. And then obviously a 1, 2, 8, 9 everywhere. This digit either goes here or goes on one of these ends. This is 1, 2, 8, 9. So if this is a 4 or a 6, can't be a 4 or 6, because if this is a 4 or 6, you can't, there's no 3 or 7 here. So that doesn't work. This cannot be a 4 or 6. I just pressed 7 by accident. If this is a 4, though, this could be a 3 and a 2. You could do 1, 2, 3. Could do 7, 8, 9. Can't go for a 6. There's clearly a 6 in one of those two. There's 6 in one of these two here. Is there a problem with 2, 3, 4? 2, 3, 4. So if we did 2, 3, 4, it would have to be like that. That would be 2, 3. That would be, sorry, 8, 7. I said 2, 3, but I meant it couldn't be 2, 3. This would be 6, 9. Right, okay, so that's wrong. Because this can't be 8, 7 now. Okay. I like how that light lighted up, because apparently 5 is not between 1 and 6, even though it is. Some of the between line stuff coding is not the best. So that clearly doesn't work. So this can't be a 4. Okay, do we have a problem with 1, 2, 3? This can't be a 1 or a 2, because, or an 8 or a 9, because, so this is a 3 or 7. So this is red. That is purple. This is good. I like this. This is much better than before. This is a 5. This is a 5. That's yellow right there, which means that this is yellow and is a 4 or 6. That's not a 4. That's not yellow. This is epic. This is a 1. This is yellow, and I think we're off. I think we're off. I think this is good. I think we will just get everything now. Okay, so let's go through it. 9, 1, 9, 1, 9, 1, 9, 1. No, 9. 1. This is a 9. That's a 1. Let's go through the greens, writing down 4s. And then go through the yellows, writing down 6s. 6, 6. Okay, now we go through the greens, writing down 8s. and the 2s and the 7s. This is red. That's a 3. That's a 3. That's a 7. This is a 3, 3, 3, 3, 7. All right, there's no 3s in there. There's no 7 there. There's no 9 there. So that's a 1. That's a 4. Those are not 1s. Those are not 9s. This is a 7, so this is an 8, and this is a 9. This is a 2, and this is a 1. This is an 8, and this is a 2. That is a 6. No, that's a 4. That's a 4. This is a 3. That's a 4. That's a 3. Oh, we're not done. This is a 2. This is a 1 or 9, but that is a 9. That is a 1. That is a 9, and that is a 2. And that is this puzzle. And I think we are done. I think that is a fun puzzle. It's not overly messy, but it's not the cleanest. It's somewhat symmetric. It's got some interesting things going on in symmetric boxes. It's got a lot of cool interactions. We're not quite done yet. We need to name this thing. What should we name this thing? What is this? It's like a bowling ball, like a purse. This kind of looks like an evil dude. An XD face with big ass lips. Huh. You know what this thing reminds me of, and this thing is telephone. Is an old telephone. Memeristor. Oh, I wrote Memeristor, not Memeristor. That's the real word. Okay, normal Sudoku rules. Why? Digits along purple renban lines must form sequence of or a set non-repeating consecutive digits in any order. Digits connected, or sorry, maybe I should say cells. Cells along. Cells connected by an X. Sum to 10. Not all X's are given. Cells along a between line must be strictly between the digits circled ends, e.g. one circle must be greater than all digits along the line. thermometers increase from the bulb end. All right. I am going to put this in testing. And thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned a couple things, or maybe I sparked some inspiration. Have a good night.